Hey, folks. MCU'S Bleeding Edge, ringing in the new year. Jeff S., a.k.a. True Knowledge, moderating this Wednesday evening, December 31st, 2025, with my co-host Cyberneticshark, joining me, as usual, to review, along with Andres the Pop Culture Guy when he shows up, another DC animated film on our list, Batman Bad Blood. So, Cyber, sir, I know I was talking to Andres about Stranger Things Season 5, and I never thought to ask you, sir, did you already see Stranger Things Season 5?
I have not, sir. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Okay, so then you probably have you heard anything about this whole controversy with the season? They had a really super cringy gay coming out scene in the show. Have you heard about that?
I had briefly heard about it, but like I didn't hear that's what exactly it was. But that doesn't surprise me where they have, because I mean they're already hinting at Will being gay anyway. So
that is the controversy with season 5 is that it's the show for whatever reason, I don't know why, the Duffer Brothers really fell off with season 5. The pace is really off. There's too many characters. They have some really boring storylines going on with some of these characters that just don't do anything for the show. And then you've got that really rough, super cringy coming out scene. And you've seen, how it is, Cyber, when you have one of those scenes like that are super cringy like that with a show. That can really derail a show.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I mean, when what's her name said that crap about, I guess I'm gonna be a dad or whatever during the last one, season 2. Bro, that was rough.
I'm sure that is up there with Stranger Things 5, huh? The cringe factor.
No, that's the thing. The Will or whatever coming out scene or whatever, along with like a massive group hug after that, like it's really cringy, bro. It's bad. It's bad. Like, gay people are like complaining, and to the Duffer Brothers and being like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're actually like making us look bad, That's how crazy it is, like the controversy with it, because like I'm on Threads looking at all these people freaking out over there on the, over or whatever. And honestly, Cyber, I generally don't think most people out there hate the Duffers because they did a really bad gay scene in the show, or like are gonna boycott the show or Netflix or something over it. You know what I mean? But there's complaining, amongst the fans. You know what I'm saying? And people are disappointed, with the show because overall season 5's been a letdown.
Yeah, I have seen like some like titles and stuff saying that a lot of people were disappointed with this season. So that was kind of sad to hear.
Well, I mean, obviously, sir, we've reviewed a lot of television shows together in the past, and you've watched a lot of fucking television shows in the course of your life, So, I think, overall, I think at the end of the day, you'll still watch a good show, regardless of whether or not I said or somebody else said that the show had a bad season. You get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You'll watch it, and decide for yourself,
Oh, yeah. It's always funny to see when certain shows or certain seasons and people are commenting, you'd be like, really? You thought it was that bad? Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much it's a widespread opinion by amongst the fandom already, that's kind of how the season went, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? There's one episode still to come out yet tonight, obviously, right?
Yep, the
It's
finale.
very interesting how Netflix has decided to handle these release dates for these episodes for the show, seeing them kind of try to diversify, how they handle their drops, to try to space episodes out and things like that, and kind of get more like a serialized episodical weekly sort of show.
Yep. Definitely. I mean, I think that how they dropped all the seasons so far, like throughout the entire course of Stranger Things, has always been odd and different how they've done it. So I think that it was kind of interesting. They decided to do this one in like 4 parts versus 2, like they did with season 4. And I think that, overall they were trying to see like extend it out to give as much time to people to be like, hey, enjoy
to talk
this
about the show. And yeah. I mean, that's one thing about Netflix that they've got to fight with and contend with, is that they have this structure where they do just straight drop all their shows from jump, when a new season comes out, and that kills pretty much any extended time for water cooler talk, and online buzz and, reviews and reactions and media and, all that. The way Netflix does their shows, it's a very brief period that their shows get that kind of glow, or, shine, you know what I mean? Whereas when an HBO has a very popular series, it always comes out episodically, weekly. And you get that 2-month period, that 2+ month period for the show, for a show that's out, where it has that glow, right?
100%.
Although I guess it'll be interesting to see how Netflix decides to manage, Warner Brothers, right, and HBO and everything, and HBO Max, once they finalize their acquisition.
Yeah. I don't know how that's going, because last thing I saw recently was that they were kind of falling down, and that was going to they were going to be able to bid.
Who, Paramount?
Yep.
No, everything the last time I checked with that story, nothing's changed. I mean, Netflix is still full sail, going to acquire Warner Brothers. But it'll take a long time for the deal to go through, and they won't actually start managing HBO, until way into next year.
Yeah.
The rumor I heard, sir, was that Paramount might buy Disney.
Oh. Yeah, no, the last headline I saw was that Netflix deal is not fully going ahead. It's still in the thought process, but that still has an option to bid in.
I don't know why Paramount wants to buy HBO, wants to buy Warner Brothers. Honestly, Paramount does not appear to me to be this massive company.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did Paramount used to put out a lot of films back in the day?
Oh yeah, they were like the big company.
They used to put out like literally like 15 films, 20 films a year, didn't they, back in the day?
Oh yeah, they were one of the big studios. Yeah, before Disney really became a huge conglomerate, and
in the 80s and 90s, Paramount had a lot of big movies.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much Paramount was one of the few that actually put out home releases too.
Okay, I guess Andres is having Wi-Fi problems.
Apparently.
Yeah, they've really cut back. They don't obviously they don't put out the number of films they used to put out anymore.
No. But also, I think they want to put out quality versus quantity.
Are they still releasing theatrical films every year?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Mission Impossible series was them. Skydance is a part of Paramount.
Skydance?
Mm-hmm.
What, the movie studio?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know we're waiting for Andre's Pop Culture Guy to discover and figure out his Wi-Fi issues. But what do you have to say about this fucking Batman Bad Blood film, Cyber? I thought it was kind of like a little 50-50-ish when it comes to like my take on DC animated films. It wasn't my favorite. I'll put it to you this way. What do you think?
I think it was okay. I think it had some entertaining value to it. Other than that, though, I have to agree with you. It's very 50-50. It's not the best writing of the animated series we've seen of the different animated films. The artwork I think is pretty decent. And I think that there's some things in it that were, kind of interesting. We saw characters we really hadn't seen in anything else before and stuff like that. But overall, I think, it is a pretty 50-50 type of film where it's kind of good, but it's also at the same time kind of not the greatest.
Are you honestly a fan of this sort of like extended universe version of Batman, this storyline where there's all these other Batman heroes, going on? Do you like that?
I guess to a certain extent, I'll say I do, when it's a good storyline and like they use them in a good way that's similar to the comics. When they try to take it off in these tangents where they like have it where it's like they're an alien, they have an alien father or an alien mother or something that's from another planet or something like that happened to co-covate with, blah, blah, blah. It's one of those things where I feel they take the story way out there and you're just kind of like, okay, no. But at the same time, I think there's too many characters in this film. I think is what the problem is. If they had just dialed it down a little bit, I think it would have made it better. And having basically the real Batman kind of absent majority of the film, I think doesn't help it in that way too.
No, I agree with you. There's way too much going on in Batman Bad Blood. Way too much going on for such a short film too. Yeah. It's a very short DC animated film. Honestly, I was kind of shocked. At how quickly the film just, slams through. You know what I mean? And then it's over.
100%. Yeah.
I almost expected at the end of the movie, I was expecting them to almost like pick the movie back up, kind of, and have like another battle or like another, like the action scene type deal, right? Just because it was so short, but then it just ended.
Yep. It definitely had one of those endings that seemed like they could have gone further or could have gone more with the story, but just like kind of just like stopped it like mid credit. Like it was like, okay, we're gonna stop here. It just made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Cyber. Did you see the Supergirl trailer?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, sir. I'm kind of also 50-50 on whether or not I will actually go and pay for a movie ticket to see that film. How do you feel? I already know you'll probably go see it. I'm just saying. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I'm very skeptical on the film because that's just how I felt about Superman. And, I feel that, how they kind of portrayed her to begin with in Superman didn't really make her a very appealing Supergirl. And her being kind of like a drunk makes no sense to me, like having her kind of be this obnoxious person. Whereas Supergirl is just like, Kal-El. She's from Krypton. She has some moral ethics. And from other Supergirl films and shows, I've seen a lot better storytelling. So it's not. It looks okay. It looks like it might be entertaining, but overall, I think that like money wise, purchasing a ticket for it, I mean, it's kind of inevitable because you're gonna want to see it anyways.
Well, I personally really honestly liked the Supergirl in the Flash movie.
Josh Kali.
She was great. I absolutely that is actually honestly one of the real letdowns, or like one of the real shitty situations that came out of the end of the DCU as we know it, and sort of the Flash, not doing all that hot as a film, or being considered as a very great film. I thought, if you remember, we reviewed the Flash. I thought the Flash was great, and that Supergirl was great, and she really added a lot to the film. And I loved how she looked, very different, different hair color, and how dark she was,
Yep.
She had an edge, that Supergirl, but she wasn't a drunk or like a slut.
Yeah, Sasha Calle, I think, did a decent job in the Flash. I enjoyed her. I thought she was a good Supergirl.
Yeah, most definitely. It's unfortunate that that wasn't allowed to go anywhere. But that a regime, or managing the DCU at the time did not feel, I think, that Supergirl as a character was quite as valuable as Gunn seems to feel.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'll be completely honest with you, sir. I find it kind of odd or strange that Supergirl is the next film after Superman, to tell you the truth. I think it's sort of strange. I don't quite understand where Gunn's going with that. It's a done deal. I'm just saying I'm surprised. I don't know why you wouldn't have gone with with a different character and changed up the pace almost, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess, right? One thing I think is clear is there's no real push, from Warner Brothers and to really get these DC inspired properties, shows, or films out too quickly, or for too many of them to be coming out.
100%, yeah. I think that they feel they're trying to be like, oh, we're taking our time, so it's gonna be a lot better film and stuff like this. But in reality, I just feel like they're trying to backpedal a lot of stupid stuff that they tried to do, and them having to revise things before they put it out. So,
well, I mean, they've already deviated from the original slate already. They've already added Clayface as a film to that that slate, and I've heard rumors that that the script writing on some of these potential projects that are supposed to be coming up, like the Authority film and stuff like that, are not working out so far, so well, essentially they stalled, or there's nothing going on with them, right now, and things like that, which, some people are taking to mean that, they might be canceled,
Yep. Well, also don't forget, I mean, with the acquisition of Warner Brothers to a new company, things might change too anyways.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, whether it's Netflix or I suppose whether it's Paramount, I don't think it really matters. I think both companies would do the same thing. I think that HBO as a cable channel and HBO Max as a streaming platform will still exist, and they'll still sell subscriptions for it, and they'll still make money off HBO, the cable channel, and they'll just manage Warner Brothers, right? And they'll manage HBO, and they'll, and all that. And if I understand it correctly, Cyber, I don't know if you know the direct answer on this, but HBO Max is actually the real home or original home of its TV shows now, right? Not the channel, not the actual cable network or cable channel.
Nope.
Oh, that's not how it works?
No, I mean, they make stuff exclusively for HBO Max, and they make stuff for HBO channels still. But I think that HBO Max has definitely become a bigger priority versus the channel.
Okay. So they are putting shows out, though, just on HBO Max?
Yes. It'll say Max Original. It'll say exclusively on Max. Shows that are exclusively for that. Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. No, but obviously, any company, whether it's Netflix or Paramount or whoever purchases Warner Brothers, will also have the rights to their all the films and everything, and shows and things like that. So they'll obviously start taking that content and moving it over to their platforms and things like that. That'll happen too, right? They'll sort of mix in some of that new content, right? That's a big part of the acquisition, is that catalog that comes with it, right?
Yep.
But obviously, there is that possibility that I suppose I don't see why either one of those companies would change anything with Gunn and the DC slate and all that, as far as going ahead, giving a go ahead on the projects that are already planned and things of that nature. I don't see them killing that or deciding to cut that off.
Yeah, I don't know how what'll happen with that, because I don't feel that the Gun stuff is as popular and as good as they thought it was going to be. I really think that his go at doing Suicide Squad was kind of a one out for him, because you look at Superman, I don't feel Superman is anywhere was like the Suicide Squad. Creature Commandos definitely was a lot more like that.
No, Superman is a totally different type of film than Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So I don't think that Superman played off as good as everyone thought it did. I don't think it made as much money as they thought it was going to.
That's very interesting, Cyber. I've never heard that before. So your take is that you think that the Suicide Squad film actually is an example of essentially him one-offing, a film, right? Is that what you're saying? Or making it appear that he was the right direction to go in, to lay out, a whole universe of films or projects, right? But you think that he actually kind of just pulled off Suicide Squad, and that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. Because he's good. He's good at doing horror comedy. He's good at doing action horror. He's good at doing that kind of stuff. I feel that he is good with that type of genre. Whereas Superman being a hero, not like the Guardians of the Galaxy, where the Guardians of the Galaxy are just a ragtag people that happen to end up becoming heroes because they end up saving the world. Whereas Superman is an icon. He is the American person. So I don't see him. I don't see him doing that.
You'd agree, right, Cyber, that when you make a Superman film, there's a whole concept that comes along with it, right? Because it's Superman, right?
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So you tell me that it's not that easy, is it, to pull off that concept and make that work in a Superman film? It's not a given when you make that kind of film that you're going to pull it off.
No, that's with any film, though. I mean, you aren't always going to be the right person to pull off that film.
my point is that extra, that added layer or wrinkle of that concept that comes along with a Superman film that you got to kind of pull off a certain way, if you get where I'm going, is something you kind of add on to the fact that it's also a movie, right? It's tough to make a good Superman film or pull it off.
Well, Richard Donner did so, and I feel that Bryan Singer did. And I think that Zack Snyder did. So, I mean, it's not as hard as it seems. It's more about having the right essence for it, having the right thought process, I feel. And to me, Gunn just doesn't have that presence. He doesn't have that thought process, I feel.
So you think that because Superman is a out of his box, kind of like what he does, what he's good at, sort of, and Superman is outside of that scope, kind of, because you can't make a Superman film has that same edge or R-rated feel that Suicide Squad has, right? You can't do that with Superman. So is that where what you kind of think is that? Because it's out of his wheelhouse almost, that's why Superman did not, end up as good as it could have been, or whatever.
I think it's partial, not completely. I just think that Superman was out of his wheelhouse because I just don't see Gunn as a basically shining Superman. I just don't see him shining in his thought process of what he's written over the years, because he's written so many different films over the years, not just horror. He wrote the 2 Scooby-Doo film live actions. I mean, he's done a lot, and he did a fantastic job with those. But, there's a certain point you get to where you're going to get to a film that just is not to your you do well at. It's not something that just isn't coming out as good as it could have been. And I just feel like he could have done so much more with that film. It was entertaining. It had some fun value to it, but I just feel like there was so much more they could have done with it. That was more, very much more like, just more of a Superman film.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of a disappointment, to tell you the truth, that Superman film. That's, my take on it, I thought that it was, that it had more negatives than it had positives overall as a film. So I don't know. Andre, is you there?
Yes, finally. Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties.
Oh man, you missed out. Me and Cyberman having this really interesting, deep conversation over here, and you missed out on all of it, sir.
Oh, really? Like about life, time travel, cake, maybe food? No?
No, sir. Much more interesting topics, like Netflix and Netflix. HBO and Gunn and Superman and DC stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Superman was okay. I mean, it wasn't my favorite of this year. I think
Andres, you say everything is okay. You don't like to say it when something's not very good. You don't like to say that, sir. So I just want to.
I mean, if it crossed the line, then yeah, I will say it's the worst movie ever. But I mean, Superman was okay. I thought it was really good.
That just makes my point even more, sir. That because it wasn't terrible, Superman, you know what I mean? You don't want to bash it, or like bash Gunn, or the DCU, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you have to remember I'm a DC guy foremost, and so yeah, I'm gonna be like that. And plus, I mean, I'm not a big Superman guy, but it had elements that I was very happy to see in the film, and it did a good job of it. But as a whole, I agree with you, Jeff and Cyber, when you guys review it or like discuss it with me. I just think it just had too much, and it just didn't focus on Superman enough, which I kind of wish they did.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot going on in that Superman movie, and also, honestly, I think the Clark Lois scenes in the film did not help the movie at all. You know, that's another element of Superman. When you do a Superman film that you have to pull off is the lowest, Clark aspect of the film, you know? And I honestly, me personally, I did not get a lot out of a big chunk of scenes that they did in that film with them, you know? That's just how I felt about it personally. But I'll tell you what, there are some hardcore, like really loyal DC, like DCU, like Superman type fans on the internet, man. That when that movie came out, they were like, posting crazy shit, like, if you even say something bad about this movie, you're a fucking piece of shit, and all this kind of type of shit, they're fucking crazy, bro. Some of these rabid fans. They were defending that movie fucking up. Like they wanted to fight. They wanted to go to war over Superman.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy. Hey, I mean, I understand. I mean, this is a new universe.
There were fans like that with Peacemaker. When Peacemaker came out, and I was online on Threads being like, man, fucking this finale is not good, bro. There were motherfuckers that were like, how dare you?
Oh God.
They think Peacemaker was fucking like the best TV show ever.
No. No way.
Yeah, some motherfuckers do. Anyways, well, since you're here now, Andre's the pop culture guy, I already asked Cyber what he thought about Batman Bad Blood. And, basically his take on it, just like mine, was the movie's kind of 50-50, It's kind of okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think, sir? What do you think about Batman Bad Blood?
I kind of agree. It's 50-50. Like, okay, as a Batman fan, I'm happy they're using the Batman family. I'm happy to see Batwoman, Batwing, Robin, because a lot of the Batman solo projects always focus on Batman being being this lone adventurer, which is good. It's fine, he's the Dark Knight, but I mean, I love the character because I like his sidekicks. I love Batgirl, Robin, and their relationship to Batman. So I like the aspect of this movie. But however, I think there's way too many things in the film, to introduce these characters is way too much. It's I think they just shouldn't just focus on Batgirl and sorry, not Batgirl. I'm sorry, Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Just focus on Batwoman. Use another villain plot. Don't use the whole Grant Morrison last.
Yeah, what was going on with that, Andres? Why are they continuing that storyline?
Yeah, well, because I knew they were going to do this, and because this version of Batman, this run of movies, is based on the Grant Morrison's run. The first half, the first movie, Batman, the Son of Batman, was based on the first one when they introduced Damian. And then this new movie is based on the last run of Grant Morrison, where we brought back Talia and she developed this new evil organization that, was supposed to be new, but then it was actually secretly Talia. It's similar to Dark Knight Rises. You thought that Bane was the main villain, but instead it was Talia for the film. So it's so much of Grant Morrison run here. It makes sense. But also they're adding new things that's not part of it. Batwoman, was a new thing during the 2006 era. And then Batwing is not even in the Grant Morrison run. That's a new 52 thing. And so, they're just, this is loosely based on the Grant Morrison's final run on Batman, the comic book series back in, 2009 or 10. So that's why we got all this. And I just think that just get a major Batman villain and focus on that. That's it. Why you need Tyler in this and this whole twist and turn? I mean, it feels like a Bond film more than a Batman film. But yeah, so it's an okay DC film. Not my favorite. I gotta say, I like the last sequel, Batman. Was it Batman versus Robin? I thought that's the best of this new Batman directed trilogy and DVD. I think this is the weakest. So that's my thoughts on this Batman Bad Blood.
Yeah, I can't remember how I really felt about the film before this one. But I'm not a really massive fan of this version of Batman with all the extent, with all the extra, side Batman heroes and everything. Catwoman. I don't know how I feel about Catwoman, to be honest with you. I don't know, but all right. So check it out. Here's the plot of the film, guys. 6 months after the defeat of the Court of Owls, Batwoman intercepts a crowd of criminals in Gotham City that includes Electrocutioner, Tusk, Firefly, and Killer Moth. When a fight ensues, Batman arrives. They're confronted by the apparent leader of the criminals, a masked man calling himself Heretic, who reminds Batman of his vision of Damian Wayne as Batman. Alongside his subordinate Onyx, Heretic detonates explosives planted within the facility. Batman flings Batwoman to safety and apparently dies in the explosion. 2 weeks later, a concerned Alfred Pennyworth sends a distress signal to Nightwing. Meanwhile, at a monastery in the Himalayas, Bruce's 12-year-old son Damian Wayne watches a news report of Batman's disappearance and sets out to return to Gotham. Batwoman's civilian alter ego, Catherine Kane, meets with her father, Colonel Jacob Kane, explaining she feels responsible for Batman's apparent death, as the sacrifice reminds her of the childhood trauma she still carries. In the past, Catherine, her sister Elizabeth, and her mother Gabriel were abducted and held for ransom. When her father attempted to rescue the three, both Beth and Gabriel were killed, leaving Kate as the sole survivor. Kate later joined the military but was discharged for unstated reasons. After her expulsion, she began frequenting nightclubs and overindulging in promiscuous sex and drugs, which we encourage and, are totally okay with here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge because, overindulging in promiscuous sex and drugs is fun, there you go, kids. It's fun to do those things, So, as folks that go on vacations, they do that kind of shit. So, one night, as she left the nightclub in a heavily impaired state, she was attacked, but was saved at the last minute by Batman. Very interesting story here. So saved by the last minute by Batman. This experience motivated her to become Batwoman, essentially. There you go. So I will stop there, guys. I'm not 100% positive how well that plot synopsis lined up with the film, but do the best you can with what I was able to give you to work with here. Cyber, sir, go ahead.
All right. So did you basically do the whole synopsis, or was that only a portion of it?
That was just a portion of it, sir. That was
okay.
that was the intro, and then a chunk of the film.
Okay. I mean, basically, how the film starts off, it's pretty action-packed. We get introduced to all these villains. We see, Batwoman in action and all that kind of stuff. We get to see, Dick Grayson as Nightwing. We get to see Robin in action. We're introduced to all these characters. Of course, you have that fight at the beginning where Batman seems to have died. And you're kind of like, yeah, Batman's not dead. I'm sorry. He's just, we all know he's not dead. We just know this. And so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, he's dead, blah, 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 blah. And you kind of get that backstory of Batwoman and kind of what she's about, what happened to her, what kind of led her to becoming Batwoman and all that kind of stuff, which was interesting. Her father being in the military and all that kind of stuff. And, you have that great moment where, Nightwing pops up at, Wayne Manor and talking to Alfred, and Alfred just kind of looks at him like, what the fuck? Type of deal. And it's super funny. And I think that's great. I think that the villains in the film, all of them are very interesting to see. I just wish they hadn't pushed them all into one film in such a tight confined space, because you could have expanded those characters out to several films to really give each of the, give several of those villains, being together, kind of their like, kind of like open bar to really expand who they are and kind of get to know more about them. And so getting to see them and stuff like that, and them fighting through and stuff like that was kind of interesting, especially when they pop up and they're supposedly when Batman returns, Dick as pretended to be Batman, that fight sequence I think was really done well. So basically, the portion of the film that you talked about there, Jeff, I think is all around. It has some entertaining value, but like we mentioned before, it's kind of a 50-50 kind of scenario where the story itself is lacking, but overall, I think that the too many characters is what really is pushing it towards that 50-50 mark. And that we had some interesting things going on, but at the same time, it was just too much in such a small, confined space. But other than that, I think there was still some great entertainment value to it, and it did have some great action.
Yeah, one thing I'm not a fan of in this film is showing characters that don't have superpowers getting their heads slammed into the fucking concrete, floors and shit like that, or their heads thrown into a fucking, a metal fucking piece of metal pole or something like that, like that, Batwoman does, and then they just get right up and they're fine, that happens multiple times in this film, and I can't stand seeing it because it's just not believable, any person would be hurt in some of these situations, you know what I'm saying, and they just get right back up. I'm like, what the fuck? Andres, what do you think about that portion of the film, sir?
Yeah, so the beginning part is your standard kind of like introduction to these newer characters. Like Batwoman, I think they did a good job of adapting Batwoman's like origin story, like who her character is. It's directly from the new revamp from 2006. So that was really nice. Her dad, that's a new thing. I don't know if that's from the new 52 because he doesn't know the secret identity of Batwoman. I'm not too familiar with Kathy Kane here. They did a good job. I like this version. It's better than the CW Batwoman. I have to be honest.
Didn't they make a whole Batwoman film and then they just scrapped it and didn't even release it and took a tax break on it?
No, that's the other one, Batgirl. They did a Batgirl.
Oh, Batgirl.
Yeah, with Barbara Gordon. And that got taxed off by David Saia, whatever his name is.
That's Batgirl. That's Batgirl that you see at the end of the film, right? That comes out of the shadows or whatever.
Yeah. Yes, that's Batgirl because she's wearing the new 52 costume. That's the iconic 60s kind of version from the Adam West show color palette. So
when I saw that, I was like, "What are you fucking kidding me? Another goddamn person?"
I know. I mean, there's so many Bat family.
How many fucking vigilantes do you need to actually fight like a certain crime? I mean, seriously.
For Batman, it's only like 3. That's it. Robin, Batgirl, and Nightwing. That's it. And the rest is from the other DC universe. I
feel like I'm watching a Justice League film.
There's
so many motherfuckers going on at one time in this film for Batman.
I know it's crazy. So I love that we got to use some obscure characters, the more obscure villains from the Batman Rose Gallery. So like the Electricianer, I know that's a very deep cut. It was great to see Firefly and Killer Moth.
I know Killer Moth from Teen Titans.
Yes, that one. Yeah. Killer Moth is in that, and he's great in that. And Firefly is a very iconic Batman villain. He got revamped into what do you call it? Fire, like artistness, which is really cool. By the '90s writers, Alan Grant and Noel Funkel from the '90s run. Firefly is a great character. Tux is the one character I don't know. I'm not familiar with Tux. I guess that's a character from a deep dive of DC. That was a new one for me. But yeah, so just seeing Batman working with Batwoman was kind of interesting. The Hectic, I was like, okay, very interesting. Yeah, so I didn't, of course, I agree with Cyber. Is like when Batman gets blown up by the factory, it's like he's not dead. It's going to be a whole mystery in this film, and that's the weakest part about this film is like who like they're like not only they're adapting the Grant Morrison run, they're also adapting like other things that was going on with Batman. Like, of course, Batman did die in the comic books. Well, sort of. He got killed by Darkseid in Final Crisis, and then he got traveled back in time, a very crazy way for his character to come back after death. And so they're loosely adapting this idea that Batman did die. So like they're deep diving like other like Batman related stories during the mid 2000s stuff. So I was like, okay, that makes sense, to bring him back. And there is a story where Nightwing does become Batman during Morrison's run. So I knew right after they introduced Nightwing, I was like, okay, he's taking over the Batman role, which is not a big surprise. And then wrapping up, seeing the origin story of Kathy Kane was pretty much spot on. Her getting attacked is definitely different from the books. I was kind of surprised that because initially, if you don't know her backstory, her and her sister Alice get into a car accident, if I remember correctly, and because Alice becomes a major character in Batwoman's storyline, and I was kind of surprised they changed it up here. But of course, they didn't do anything with Batwoman in terms of spin-off in this universe, so it makes sense they didn't like dive into her sister and like that whole background. So that was the new change they did in that like origin story, and like her dad, is a general, like he was part of the army, like that is part of the comic book, but the difference here is like he knows the identity, which that's a new theme for this movie. So overall, I like the opening. It's very decent. I think the action is top notch here. It's just like there's just so much. They're just like throwing you at you. Like first a new vigilante in Gotham City, like this new mystery villain, and then Batman getting blown up and presumably dead, like right around that, and then getting reintroduced with the characters like, Robin and Nightwing, and then Afrin being part of it. So yeah, so that's all my thoughts on the beginning.
Okay, so Batman apparently resurfaces and is quickly noticed by Robin and Catherine. Both of them intercept Batman and deduce that it is Nightwing wearing an older version of the Batsuit. They begin their own investigations into the Heretic, unconvinced that Bruce is truly dead. The Heretic and his henchmen attack Wayne Enterprises, forcing Lucius Fox to open the way into the vault by threatening his son Luke. Though Nightwing and Damian arrive, they are unable to prevent the Heretic from escaping with Wayne technology, and Lucius is injured. Before they leave, the Heretic kills Electrocutioner when he is about to kill Robin. The Heretic returns to his headquarters, where it is revealed that he is working for Damian's mother, Talia al Ghul. They are holding Bruce prisoner, and the Mad Hatter is slowly trying to brainwash him. The Heretic breaks into the Batcave and kidnaps Damian, revealing himself as a clone of Damian created by a genetics program run by Raja Ghul and the League of Shadows. He wishes to have Damian's memories and personality and his soul, essentially, to feel like a real person. But Talia arrives and kills him for defying her orders, much to Damian's anger. Nightwing and Batwoman then arrive, having located Damian through a tracker in his costume. They're joined by Luke, clad in an exosuit designed by his father and styling himself as Batwing. The three rescue Bruce and Damian, but Talia and most of her henchmen escape. So I'll stop there and I'll go back to you, Andre, the pop culture guy, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, Luke Fox is a great character. I really liked him. I love Lucius Fox as a supporting character, so it was cool that they brought him into this film. Pretty faithful. Like of course I liked how before Luke becomes Batwing, we saw briefly the blueprints for the Bat exosuit. His costume is very reminiscent of Batwing. Not Batwing. I'm sorry. Batman. Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond, especially his wings, just foreshadowing the technology that Batman's going to use in his new Batsuit in the future. So just kind of give a consistent with that. All of that is very interesting. Seeing Lucius running the company of Wayne Enterprise is, a thing from the comic books. The newest thing that, of course, we reviewed the Dark Knight trilogy. When Nolan directed those films, he, added this new unique thing with Lucius that he's the tech, Q for Batman, and that's became such a popular thing now. So you're seeing both sides of Lucius hailing, not only the company of Bruce Wayne, but also Batman and his tech. The villains infiltrating the Wayne Tower thing is really cool. I love the running gag that Nightwing, like everyone knows that new Batman is not Batman. That was very funny. Like even Robin says, like everyone know that you're not Batman, and like Kate kind of realized that, which is very funny. So after they get the signal that White Tiger is getting infiltrated by the villains, I was kind of curious about why Hectic killed was it the electrician, and then of course it made sense that Talia is behind this. That's from the comic books as well. Like the idea that Rachel who has a particle of like multiple Damians, that's from the Grant Morrison one. So that's the thing that's from the comic books. The thing that I was like very happy to see was Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter, great character, great villain. If you haven't seen the Batman animated series, he's a great villain that they did there. He's such an underrated Batman villain. Like the idea of him, being obsessed with Alice in Wonderland and his like gimmick of using mind control is really unique. So it's really cool how they use him here to like brainwash Batman. So I really like dug that. But I don't dug is like having Talia come back and run this villain plot, because like I like Talia when she's not a villain. Like she's so much better as a love interest with Batman. In the Morrison one, the thing that's very unique about his run is that he makes Talia as a villain, which is never true. She was always like Talia is basically a Bond girl for Batman, but she never was a villain against Batman. She always had this trouble of like, siding with him and her, and her father like simultaneously. But in the Morrison run and this version of Talia that we got in this DC, animation universe, they're really leaning on her being the bad guy, which I'm not really.
They kind of wanted to come off like kind of a slut, don't they? Sort of. Isn't she supposed to be kind of like a overly sexual kind of character, like in a way?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's the normal Talia. Like,
they depict her as like a very large-breasted, attractive, like looking woman,
Yeah, I mean, which that's like her in the comic book, so they got that right. Yeah, no, it's Talia. No, you're right, Jeff. But yeah, and then I think that's really it. I like this mix section. I like the part when we get Lucius Fox's son here. He's a great character. He was also in the Batwoman show, and he was great there. He was actually the best thing about that show. Was that him in that show, Luke Fox. But like introducing Batwing here was like okay, and I think you could easily cut him out, but at the same time he's decent. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this mixed section. It's okay, great action. Again, just knowing more about your characters like Luke and Kathy Kane is important to understand where they are and why they're becoming the part of the Batman family. So that's good.
I could not imagine watching Batwoman personally. I would never watch that.
No,
ever.
Don't do it. No. It was a mess. The first two seasons were horrible and messy.
Can you even find that show if you try to look for it? Is that even available anywhere on any platform? It's not on HBO. It's not on HBO Max.
Oh really? Really, I'm seeing this in
who has the rights to all that fucking CW or whatever network that is that had the Arrowverse? Who actually has the rights to all that?
Usually in Netflix usually do it. And CW and their .coms, but I'm. Are you sure? Because I'm seeing that everyone's in HBO Max. It's just
Oh, is it?
yeah, it's a Max.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I see it right here. Here. So
Okay. I never noticed it.
yeah, well, you have to type bat something and it will pop up. I see it in Max whenever I go there to watch movie or TV for
Okay.
us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do they? I didn't realize that. Do they have all the Arrowverse stuff on there?
Oh yeah. Supergirl's there, Flash, Arrow. If then they're not there, it's usually Netflix.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. You never. I had no idea that Netflix actually had any of that stuff. To be honest with you, but it makes sense. They're always buying content from different fucking companies all the time. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
Cyber. What are your thoughts on that section of the film, sir?
So basically, this section is quite interesting. You're learning all these cool facts. You find out that Damien has a clone that was created by his mother, who is, Talia al Ghul. You find that out. You get to see some great action, between the villains and everything like that. I think that the whole situation with, the Mad Hatter trying to basically brainwash, Bruce, I think is freaking awesome. The Mad Hatter is such a great character. I wish they would utilize him more in things. I wish they would make a live action version of him. He's such a great character, great villain from DC. And it'd just be fun to see him in live action form. But I think he's great in this. And I think the whole situation there, finding out that Bruce has been kidnapped this whole time. Hence, I said, like he said earlier, he's not dead. He was just kidnapped. You're just like, oh, that's so typical. And Talia al Ghul, who had a romance with Bruce, and you're like, why the fuck are you kidnapping him when you had a thing with him? Like, what kind of shit is this? And then you end up finding out that the clone of Damien wants his soul, wants him to have his memories and all this shit. And you're kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with this? What are you, like an empty doll that has nothing in you? Like, I'm like, you apparently seem to be your own person and everything, but why the hell do you want to be Damien? You're already a clone of him, so I don't see why you need his actual, stuff, his memories and all this kind of stuff.
He's only 12 fucking years old, bro. What are you really gonna get from him?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, you're like the adult version of him. Like, what the fuck are you gonna get out of this? Nothing. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's stupid. I'm like, this is just retarded. And so I think that's where the story kind of goes really off with this film, hence that 50-50 scenario we were talking about earlier. And you're just kind of like, okay, all right. But like, as the movie progresses and everything, and you get all these interesting things and all these hilarious kind of thought processes, and the action stuff was really great, and introduction to all these characters, stuff like that. You get reference to Ra's al Ghul, which is really awesome. Always a great character to talk about. But when we get that exoskeleton and towards the end of the film, so freaking badass. I absolutely love that. I think that's my favorite part about this film, was that freaking exoskeleton was just so freaking cool. And, it taking on all those bad guys and stuff like that was just freaking awesome. And, I think that the whole thought process of that fight sequence was done really well. Like, that was probably the best fight sequence, I think, in the film. And I just think that whole concept could have been, majority even the film. It could have been even more of the film. We could have seen that exoskeleton earlier in the film, and I think would have made the film a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. And, of course, the relationship between the three people, Batwoman and, Nightwing and, Robin and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting dynamic in these sequences too, kind of where each of them are going, especially with Damien being 12, like we mentioned, and, him kind of, not really knowing a lot, for a 12-year-old, but knows quite a bit for a 12-year-old. Hence being the son of, Bruce Wayne and all this kind of stuff, Batman and shit. But at the same time, it's kind of like, him getting kidnapped. I was kind of like, you already got Batman, and now you're gonna kidnap Robin too. Okay, That was smart. Put two lethal people together. Yeah, that's a smart idea. So I thought that was kind of, interesting how they played that out. But overall, I think that, like I said, I think this sequence is decent. I think it has a lot of great stuff, a lot of stupid stuff. But overall, I think the exoskeleton, that kind of your endpoint, is really the climax, the best part of this, of this film. And I really enjoyed it.
They made kidnapping seem very fucking easy in this film, Cyber. You know what I'm saying? Like, according to this movie, kidnapping is a breeze. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just do it and you go, decide you're gonna do it, it's over. You know? You got the motherfucker, it's over. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. They didn't fight back or nothing.
100%.
Anyways, so, yes, another 50-50, indication there, Cyber, when it comes to this DC animated film. The very deflating story arc or character arc of fucking Heretic in the film is, not exactly, super fucking great or entertaining. Very deflating. So, all right. A week passes, and Bruce seems to have recovered, though he remains adamant that Catherine and Luke should not be involved. After Catherine is forced to fight her father after he suddenly attacks her for no reason, Dick realizes that Bruce is still under the effects of the Mad Hatter's mind control. Luke realizes that the League of Shadows are planning to brainwash world leaders at a tech summit held by Bruce. As the brainwashing takes place, Nightwing, Robin, Batwoman, Alfred, and Batwing, holy fuck, let's all motherfuckers, arrive and fight Talia and her henchmen. During the fight, the Calculator is killed by Alfred, interrupting the mind control and killing the Mad Hatter in the process as well. Bruce, still brainwashed, defeats Nightwing. Talia orders him to kill Nightwing and Damian, but thanks to a speech Nightwing gave, Bruce resists the brainwashing. Incensed, Talia escapes in a vessel only for Onyx to confront and attack her to avenge Heretic's death. The vessel crashes and explodes, with the two being presumed dead. Bruce is later seen comforting Damian over Talia's supposed death. Alfred remarks to Dick that despite Talia's madness, she was still Damian's mother. As the bat signal shines in Gotham City, Batwoman, Batwing, and Nightwing meet Batman and Robin on top of the police station for their nightly patrol. The former two now officially part of the team. When everyone arrives, they notice a robbery in progress down the street being committed by the Penguin and head off to stop it. On a nearby building, Batgirl observes the group and prepares to join the pursuit. Wow, that is fucking exciting, bro. Fucking Batgirl joining the pursuit. So there you go. Fucking awesome. So, Cyber, sir, going right back to you, sir. Final thoughts there on the end portion of Batman Bad Blood.
Honestly, the end of this was like pretty lackluster. I thought it was pretty like I thought just lame. I didn't think it was very entertaining. I didn't think it was anything that great. I thought that they could have done so much more with it. Plus, also as we were talking earlier about how it kind of just promptly ends, and where it makes you feel like there should be more to the story, and that I think doesn't help it at all either. And so I think that there's so much more that they could have done with that ending, give us so much more. I mean, definitely don't get me wrong. I mean, Talia Ghul and Ra's al Ghul fighting each other was really cool. I mean, unfortunately, the Mad Hatter getting killed, that sucked. I was like pissed about that. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you got to stop the villain. You got to stop the villain. And, basically kind of how it ends is kind of just like lackluster, at the same time, kind of dumb. I think it just like, I feel like it definitely could have been so much better and so much more entertaining. And I think that overall, it just could have been, the action could have just been more of the storytelling itself, because there was a lot of action going on, but I feel that it didn't really take to its full advantage. And I think that they could have done that, which would have made the ending a little better, I think. So overall, I think that this portion was my least favorite of the film. Definitely, I thought the first two halves were better.
Leaving grid in main menu.
Sorry.
1 of 10.
That's my TV talking.
And so I think overall, I think that, like I said, it just could have been such a better ending. It could have been a lot more fun. But overall, I think that the movie as a whole, like I said, 50-50 with it, because I think the ending really is kind of what makes it that 50 portion, whereas the first two halves were a little better, made it a little bit better and made it more entertaining, which would give you the other 50. So yeah, I still think that this film it's got its good, it's got its bad, and it could have been better.
Yeah, sorry about that halting fucking voice, Cyber. That is the TV, and unfortunately, when you have a Roku controller, sometimes if you hit the right button, it'll pull up the menu, and you'll turn on that automated voice where it automatically reads, whatever tells you what's going on the TV. It's very irritating, very frustrating when it comes on YouTube. Because you hear it talks a lot. And it's really fucking irritating. Andres, what are your thoughts on the end of the film, sir?
Yeah, that is where I think the movie shines better. I really like the villain plot of Taya. Like, it's a very Bond villain. Like, the idea of brainwashing all the world leaders by using Mad Hatter's mind control is so perfect. But I agree with Cyber here. As a Batman fan, I love Mad Hatter. He's such an overrated villain, and I'm just surprised he hasn't been adapted yet in the big movie screen. I just hope because he's such a great villain. He has potential to be a big bad, and I just didn't like they kill him off in this movie. I was like, come on, the Mad Hatter's he's so iconic. So I was very annoyed they did that. But I think the action here was pretty good. I think the weakest part is Batman almost gonna kill his son, or killing people. One of the things about Batman, he doesn't like killing. He doesn't like to use guns, and that's a really extreme plot with Batman being brainwashed. And I think that's one of these that's annoying because they think that Batman's acting up. Like something's wrong, and it's like I don't know, like he's acting pretty much like who he is from the beginning, and like how we know him from this two movies that we've been reviewing. Like if he act nice, and he's like, "Oh, good job, my family," and he gets sandwiched to Damien or something like that, and it's like, yeah, something's really odd with Batman. He is brainwashed, but I just felt like that was not a surprise that he was brainwashed, and oh yeah, of course,
Well, Andres, we saw the Batman that kills when Snyder did Ben Affleck Batman. Remember, we've seen that version.
Oh yeah, and then of course the '90s movies, Keaton, Val, and George, they all killed. So yeah, that is. I mean more like the plot, the idea, like him struggling.
Yes, I know. I got it.
I'm just saying that, no, it's a Batman thing. But anyway, they didn't do a good job of develop that in this movie. So that was pretty bad. The cat. I forgot that they used the calculator. That's another obscure DC villain. He was in Arrow. That was my first time hearing this character. I think he's he was in Batman from the Comics 463 in 1976. Anyway, so yeah, seeing Batman, Nightwing, Alfred, Batwoman, and Batwing, like Robin, all of them working together, that was really fun. I really like how they used their different arsenals and skills to defeat the villains and the henchmen. I was I was very surprised that the guy, Hector's henchwoman attacked Talia towards the end, but that makes sense because she was very close to Hector, and the fact that she Talia killed him, I knew that was gonna something happen, and then the day was saved and the Bat family saved Batman, I dug that. Now everyone is now part of the Bat family. They now working together. Then you got the Penguin doing a crime. That was nice. That's one thing I don't like about these films. I get they're using New 52 stuff and heavily influenced with Grant Morrison, but I kind of wish they used a lot of the iconic Batman villains. Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, the top tier villains. And I just don't understand them using the Cora Owl. I get the Cora Owls. They're cool. They're good. But Taya as like another villain after the first one is like, come on. So that was a very annoying thing. I was happy to see Batgirl, but then that's the thing I don't like about this movie is like after Robin, Batgirl is the next, Bat family after Robin, and it's just weird that we got first Batwoman and Batwing before Batgirl, because Batgirl is a very important character in the Batman family. So it's just weird that you now tease her, and it's like I think this movie could have been better. Just like Batgirl was a new like vigilante, and we were following her point of view, and then you could slowly introduce Batwoman and Batwing, because they're trying to protect Gotham at the Batman.
Yeah, but there's another. The next animated film after this one is another Batman film, right? But it doesn't adapt this storyline anymore. It's totally different.
No. Yeah, because just briefly, foreshadow our next thing. Like Batman: The Killing Joke is based on the graphic novel from the '80s, and that's an Elseworld story. That we're gonna go next. I think the next movie is a Teen Titans movie. And this is the last Batman solo film we're gonna get.
Oh, well, then why'd you tell me that the Batman that was Batman next?
That was in the list. Yeah, Killing Joke.
I thought you said that. Then why'd you just say that the next movie was Teen Titans?
No. Teen Titans after.
After
Killing
the
Joke.
Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
After Batman Killing Joke. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, so our next movie is an Elseworld story, and then after Killing Joke, we're right back to this universe, and we're going to be introduced to their version of the Teen Titans, and that's where we're going to see Damian again, this version of Damian. So overall, I agree with Cyber. It's 50-50. I think overall, I think this ending was good. I think it did a good job of wrapping up this like very mediocre kind of Batman film for me. So that's all I have to say about this ending.
Very fair, sir. Mediocre is a apt term to describe this film, I think. Overall. But let's do ratings, guys, and then we'll get the fuck out of here. It is New Year's Eve. Cyber, give me your rating, sir.
All right. So hence I keep saying that this is 50-50. I will give it a 5 out of 10 because there was so much that it lacked that I can't do any lower than 5. But at the same time, I think that it's at least worth halfway point because it did have some entertaining value to it. Other than that, yeah, I give it a 5.
All right. A 5, which is half of 10. All right. Andres, give me your rating, sir.
I will go up a little bit, just 6 out of 10. It's okay. It's average, mediocre. I think the best thing is like, if you're a big Batman fan like me, like it's cool to see all the Bat family as a focus for a film. So that was nice. But I think what's really bad for this film is that like Batman is not front and center. You have a villain plot that's like very obvious and like nothing new and original. And I like Taya as a character, but she's not a villain type. So I kind of wish they used another villain for this film. But overall, it's a decent film. I don't think it's as good as Batman versus Robin, but it's definitely better than Son of Batman, I have to say, in terms of this trilogy. And before we leave, I had to say I'm really sorry again. I mixed up the lineup. Our next movie is Justice League versus Teen Titans. I'm sorry. I think I made a mistake there.
Okay, so that's the next film, Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Yeah, I was just checking that, and after Justice League versus Teen Titans, that's Killing Joke.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got that straight, sir.
Yeah, but that's all I have to say. 6 out of 10.
All right, I'm gonna give the movie a 3.5. It's really bad. It's not a good movie. It's very, very, very poorly structured. It's way too short. To have this many characters in it, not enough minutes in the movie, to space it out for all those characters, and the ending is way too abrupt. Damn, there's that fucking voice again. So, anyways, all right, that's our review of Batman: Bad Blood. No plugs tonight because I'm on my cell phone and I can't do them, or I don't know how. So, for Cyber, for Hunter's Pop Culture Guy, for myself, Jeff S., aka True Knowledge, we are out of here. We'll see you on Friday for Fallout Episode 3.
Yeah, that's